don't know if we're going to be able to stay up until 1 now, though.
David and Andrea were supposed to become husband and wife today, but instead of walking down the aisle, they're walking through their options after postponing their wedding until next year.
It feels very anticlimactic. We got to you spend 2 years planning something just for it to fall through at the last minute.
Their coveted date of August Bank Holiday Saturday had to be booked 18 months in advance, but they gave it up because Andrea's family live in Canada, so couldn't have easily made it.
It's just really hard to imagine, you know, my dad not walking me down the aisle, or, you know, my sister not being my maid of honour. My best friend from back home, who I've known 27 years, is, you know, not being there for that day. Just, you know, just wouldn't have been the same, and I just can't imagine doing it without them.
Wedding bells would normally be ringing out across the country today on what is traditionally the busiest wedding day of the calendar, but not this year. Nearly 4,500 weddings that were due to take place today have either been cancelled or postponed, taking the total number since lockdown began to over 100,000. For businesses that rely on the wedding season, a time of bloom is instead one of gloom.
Well, we're surviving on our savings, isn't it?
Weddings account for nearly a third of Sharjah's business. He had expected to do 25 this month, but he's only had 1.
We need the wedding industry to come back, so obviously until next year.
Do you think it will come back?
To be honest with you, looking at COVID, then Brexit, then we're in a recession, which is going to kick in 6 months' time, because it's only in figures at the moment, so it's not looking that good.
The current 30-guest limit is a fraction of the numbers Bhavna Barrett normally shoots, but the freelance photographer's next job isn't until February. So on what should have been her busiest weekend, she's pondering the future of her business.
We do have work for next year, but it's going to be months before we get to see any income, you know. So what do I do between now and February of next year? You know, how do I earn a living?
The sector's calling on the government for more support and clarity on its future, warning that without it, a quarter of wedding businesses will close.
Right now, the wedding sector is being excluded for things that already exist that could actually benefit us. So, for example, the hospitality industry is receiving support, yet wedding venues are excluded from that. VAT, for example, is a really key one.
And as summer draws to a close, it's not just a lost day couples and businesses are dealing with, but potentially a lost year. Ivor Bennett, Sky News.